Hey, y'all. Welcome back to Sis Take Care. This is the podcast where care is at the intersection of faith, hope, and love for women of faith, right? I am your host, Alexandria Barabin-Harris, and I am so excited. Y'all don't even know. You don't actually. Okay, listen, I'm just telling you, this is not one of those episodes where you're going to need just 5 minutes. Let me just listen in for a minute. No, you're going to need to put some space in your agenda, okay, on your drive, when you drop off the kids, when you filling up packages and you working on your business, you're going to want to play this whole thing all the way through, because guess who I have in the building? You're not ready. You're not ready. The illustrious, the beautiful, the ever talented and successful, highly successful Aisha Taylor Issah.
Oh, thank you, sis.
Hey, girl.
Hey, girl. Hey.
Listen, now, first of all, I just have to say, because I didn't know this, and I was just telling you, I didn't know that you're not only a successful entrepreneur, but also an ordained minister.
Yes, I've been in ministry just as long as actually longer than I've been an entrepreneur. Mm-hmm.
So wait, what brought you to a point of saying, not only do I just want to be like a person of faith who like believes deeply in God, but I want to be a voice for the Lord? What brought you to that?
It was a calling, straight up and down. Nothing I voluntarily signed up for.
That's what I find out. People are like, I was actually running. I was actually on the run.
Yes.
And God was like, let me holler at you, sis.
And you can only run for so long before you either going to surrender willingly or involuntarily.
Indeed.
I was called into ministry initially when I was 16, but ran away from it for a good while, went away to college. And during college, God was just put me through the ringer. Like, come on, girl, you already know what I told you to do. And so right after I graduated from undergrad, I submitted to my call, went to seminary, and, the rest is history.
Wow. Okay. So you said that being in ministry kind of coincided with you starting your business. So how did you first start your business?
So the Sisters in Business brand and enterprise is actually my second entrepreneurial endeavor.
Okay.
I started a business many years ago with my sister called Taylor Made Professional Career Consulting. We're both the Taylor sisters. And we led that business for over 15 years, where we provided expert coaching and consulting for career professionals, resume writing, interview training. We also went into recruiting for small businesses and nonprofits, and had that business for over 15 years. So that was my first kind of, exposure or introduction to entrepreneurship.
Yeah. No, that's so great. And shout out to your sister, who I met at your last Sisters in Business event, which she was so sweet.
Yes, she's everything.
Yeah. So you all have been working, because she helps you with your business now, right?
Yeah, she does help me tremendously with Sisters in Business. Our previous brand we actually owned together. This one I started on my own, but she's been there every step of the way.
That's phenomenal. I have two sisters. I'm the oldest. Okay. Shout out to the oldest sisters who be holding it down for the entire family. Okay. Yes. Without us, nothing else happens.
This is true. She's the oldest, and I must agree.
But I hear people talk all the time about they don't get along with their siblings, or, brother, sisters, but certainly the sister situation. They're like, that Tia and Tamara sister stuff is for the birds. We don't have no kind of relationship like that. That's just some cute stuff for TV. And in my experience, my sisters are everything. Like, they support me, I support them. They love me, I love them. They're like, how can I help? It sounds like you and your sister have like a more harmonious relationship.
Yeah, I really, my heart goes out to people who do not have a good relationship with their siblings. I cannot imagine what that would be like. We have been extremely close.
Yes.
I will say, when we were kids, we used to fight like cats and dogs. We did. We really did. And my mama used to give us heck for it. Like, she was just like, why y'all fight so much? We really did fight a lot. But once I would say, entered into our adolescent years, teenagers, my sister is 5 years older. So she went away to college right when I was going into high school. And then, so we've been apart.
Yes.
We were actually living separately longer than we lived in the same house.
Oh.
So because after she went away to college, she moved to Georgia and never came back. And then I went away to college and I moved back to New York. So we were living literally, like, since I was 14 years old, we were living separate. It wasn't until 3 years ago that I moved to Georgia and we were back in the same state.
That's what I was getting ready to ask you. Did you come here in part because your sister is
I came here because my whole family is
your
here.
whole family?
My whole family. So she was part of the early stages of what I call the Great Migration.
Oh my
so
goodness.
one by one, every single person started moving to Atlanta. This was back in the 90s when like everybody was coming to Atlanta. Houses were dirt cheap. Now it's about the same price if you ask me, but you do get a little more space, but the prices ain't much different. But yeah, so we have an older cousin that we adore named Andrea. She is like the oldest. All of our first cousins are very close. We're all like siblings.
Oh,
so she started the Great Migration in her 20s. She got married. Her and her husband moved here. Their jobs relocated them here. And then one by one, literally over the last 25 years, every single person has moved here, including my parents. My parents were the last ones to come in 2021, January 2021. And then me and my husband and my son were the last ones left up north. Like we were looking around at each other like, okay, what are we going to do now?
Like,
son, yeah.
The clock is ticking.
And mind you, I never wanted to move to Georgia. Never. My family has been trying to get me to move here literally for over 25 years.
Really?
And I had no interest or desire. Like I would come here many times a year to visit, hang out. When I was in college, we would come over to hang out. But I'm a city girl. Like I'm a New Yorker, tried and true. Like, and it's still very
in New York.
Yes.
You gotta put your theme music on.
Still very country and southern to me. And so I never was like, pressed to move here. And then when we looked around and realized we were the only ones left and, we had a small baby.
Yeah.
Needed help. Yeah. And then my parents were aging. And so my sister was having to handle all of their, care and appointments and all that stuff. Yeah. So we're like, okay, maybe now's the time. So yeah, my whole family's here.
That is so deep. Shout out to your sister.
Yes.
What's her name?
Ayana.
Hi, Ayana. Shout out to you, boo, because I feel like you the catalyst for everything. I do. And I love that because it brought you here and we've had an opportunity to, like, I was at the opening of Sisters in Business, the Sister Shop in Atlantic Station. And just to see, your business continue to grow and flourish in so many different ways. We're going to get to that later. But let me go back to this. I understand what you mean, being a city girl. Okay. And not the city girls who like,
no, not those city girls.
Drop it like it's hot. I mean, we drop it like it's hot occasionally. Okay.
Right. With class.
With class. With class. We keep it classy. Okay.
Right.
Because our husbands appreciate if we drop it a little bit. Okay. We drop it. But then we pick it back up.
Right. Got to pick it back up.
And then we go deal with the children.
Right. That part.
But I'm from Los Angeles originally. Okay. And then I lived in Washington, D.C. In those Obama years and election years and that kind of thing. Those were some very, very good years. And even just to think about what D.C. looks like right now today with so many things that are happening. My heart goes out to the citizens and residents who pay taxes and have taxation without representation and all of that. Yeah. But I lived a very good time, had a good time in DC. Then moved to New York. And I moved here from New York. Okay. So now I'm not a New Yorker like you.
But you understand.
But I do understand. I mean, trains that go everywhere. Restaurants and clubs that are open till 3, 4 a.m. There's, I think every single day, if it's snow on the ground, it has to be like 5 feet of snow for New York to stop, And Atlanta is like, if we sense a flurry is coming, the whole city shuts down. And I'm not mad at that. But I moved here from all of these larger cities over a decade ago. I've lived here for, I think now it's like 15 years. Wow. I can't believe it. I was supposed to, time flies, okay? Yeah. Like a Red Bull drink commercial. Time flies. I moved here to slow down. I wanted to, my grandmother, who's now deceased, was living in Alabama, and I was like, ooh, not that slow. Praise God. Love Birmingham as I do. I need, just a little bit of in between. Let me be able to get to her, and because I was taking care of her a little bit at the time. And I need to be someplace where it feels more rooted and more grounded. And Atlanta was that for me. And maybe that's why I've stayed for so long, because it really is a type of home in my heart. And it's my daughter's a Southern Peach now. And so that's like a whole different change to me. What have you realized or learned to appreciate about kind of the slower, more, it's a different pace, Atlanta, than New York? What have you come to appreciate being down here? in Atlanta.
I mean, I think I appreciate just that the somewhat of the slowness in this phase of my life.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I moved here in my early 40s, actually turned 40 right before I moved here.
Yee.
So
40 and up club.
yes, girl. So I appreciate that now. When I was in my 20s and my 30s, I was living my best life in New York and New Jersey and just turning up, right? So, but now, girl, I'll be tired. I'll be in the house. Listen, the rare occasion that I do go out, I'm like, oh, this is what people do. Oh, okay, outside.
Outside.
On a big Tuesday and Wednesday. Sometimes I'm like, people really be outside. So, so I appreciate that. I appreciate that I've kind of experienced, so much of quote unquote the fast life, for lack of a better term. But, I'm good now. Like, I just want to chill. I just want to relax. I just want to see my son play in the backyard and, enjoy those types of luxuries. And then every now and then if I want to go out, I will, or I'll travel or whatever. But and what I really appreciate the most is being close to my family.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how much I was missing it until I got here and was able to take advantage of so many of the things that I normally would have missed, so all the birthday celebrations and just the different holiday
barbecues.
Oh God. And let me tell you, when I tell you my family does it, we do it. Okay. For no good reason. We will just have nothing planned. And 2 hours later, we'll all 50 of us be in the living room, just having a barbecue, chilling or hanging out. Yes. At all times. So, that piece I am enjoying, and I'm so glad that my son is able to grow up around his family as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
My daughters really benefit from my sister being here. One of my sisters moved here, and she actually moved to Alabama first and then was like, okay, sis, I'm ready to, this has been lovely here in Alabama, in Tuskegee and Montgomery. And I'm coming on home to Atlanta. And it's been such a tremendous, assist, not just, great babysitter. Okay, great. But also just having someone who is not your mama, not your daddy, that loves you, will look out for you, will care for you, right? Yeah. And I think that's part of even just this mission around Sis Take Care, building intentional community, surrounding yourself or having people in your life who will show up and pour in and you pour back, and really being intentional about that because listen, it's hard out here for the pimps and, trying to handle things, the pimps and the parents. Okay. It's hard. And so having that support system, I think is so beautiful. And your sister actually started a caregiving community, right?
Yes.
Yes. Tell me a little bit about that because I think that's so important for people to know that when we're struggling or when we're just not even, maybe if we're not struggling, but we're just feeling the pressure that we don't have to be alone.
She should probably be here too,
I would
because
love that.
The names are similar, right? So my sister started a caregiver community called Take Care. And it's because my sister and I are caregivers for our mom who suffers with Alzheimer's and dementia. And my sister is a licensed mental health therapist. And so, she kind of is able to approach that from both, lenses, just as a daughter caring for her mom, but also as a mental health professional and being very in tune with the medical field and that whole industry because she's worked in that as well. And just being able to see that there was a need for caregivers to have a space where they can just breathe, have resources, have community.
Some
yes, because I always say it's a club nobody wants to be in, right? Like taking on the role of a caregiver, and caregiving happens in many capacities. So it's not just children to parents. Sometimes it's siblings, other loved ones, spouses. Yes, absolutely. And she actually did double last, earlier part of this year because her husband had to undergo a major surgery. And so she became his caregiver for that as well. So so we meet monthly. It's just starting, but it's off to a great start. I'm super proud of her for, making it happen because she's been talking about it for a while. It was really on her heart. And so, y'all check out Take Care, a community for caregivers on Facebook.
I love that. And we will absolutely leave a link in the show notes for that so you can click right on it. And if you are a caregiver for a spouse or for a parent, or someone else just in your life where you know that their well-being depends on you, then this is definitely a resource that you can take advantage of. And I love to see things like this. I previously talked on the podcast about caregiving in the sandwich generation, right?
And that's what we are. Yeah.
And that's exactly. And so how old is your baby?
He will be 5 in a month and some change. So he's almost 5.
It's the little precious years. And I'm not that far ahead of you. Like my daughter will be 10 soon, but it feels like a whole different world. When I think about when she was 4 and 5, I mean, she has a speech delay and is autistic. So at 4, she was just learning to form sentences and so many other things. And her growth is amazing right now.
Yeah. So I don't know if you know, my son had a speech delay as well.
No.
Yes.
I didn't.
Yes, he did.
Oh my goodness.
He was born premature.
Okay.
And so had some different challenges, but God is amazing. He is doing so well. He was in speech therapy for over 2 years, and I did a whole lot of praying and crying and worrying too, because I'm human.
Yes.
Just stuck with it. And then it was literally like a light bulb turned off. Like, and the therapist told us, she was like, that's usually how it happens. Like,
wow.
We went 1 week and he wasn't saying much. And then I think there was like a break because it was a holiday. And then we came back and this boy was just saying all kinds of things we had never heard him say.
And you're like, who are you?
Yes.
Where did this come from?
I'm telling you, I am just blown away. Even now, I mean, now he's like, you would think you wouldn't even know. Yeah, you wouldn't even know. But I still because it wasn't that long ago, you know? And so I still am just in awe and gratitude to God, and I empathize, significantly with people who are also going through it, because it's tough. It's tough, but I do believe that with the right help and support and other resources that people can reach leaps and bounds that we didn't see possible, because God is able.
Absolutely. No, that's so powerful though. I have to constantly check back in because my daughter is super creative, just a loving, kind little girl. And also she has autism. So her brain is set up very differently. And so there are times where I'm like, why can't you just do this particular thing like the way that I'm instructing or the way that I see that it should be done? And I have to pause and say, that's actually not the reality that she's working in.
Right.
I need to meet her where she is. I need to think differently and say, what is going to help you step into your best skill and your like what's most effective for you, not just what I expect, right? And so I think that conversation around not being afraid of challenges or differences that our kids may encounter. So many parents say, well, I'm afraid to put my kid in speech therapy because nothing's wrong with them. They just need more time. And I'm like, well, they need support. They need time plus support. They need you to stand with them where they are. Yeah. And so that's so beautiful and powerful that, you came to that place. Like, I'm going to meet my child where he is and love and support him there and let him have the time that he needs to grow. And that's like, that just warms my heart. Because I think about the ways I have to talk to these teachers. And I'm like, I'm not telling you to, because they'll say, well, I don't want to lower expectations and treat her differently. I said, I'm not asking you to lower expectations. What I'm asking you to do is recognize that this child 3 years ago was not forming complete sentences. Okay. Okay. And so for this arc of growth, I'm asking you to meet her where she is. Right. And I just love hearing parents be so heartfelt and so not stuck in their own ego, right? Like, well, my kid is supposed to have done this. And I'm like, yes, deal with the kid that you have, the child God gave you, and not whatever imagination that, you have about what is supposed to happen, because that's not the reality. Like, be in reality with your child. But I think that goes to all caregiving, right? And so on that sandwich generation piece, you serving your child, and then you serving an elder or, a spouse in that kind of way. How do you take care of yourself in that balance or that dance? Because sometimes it ain't even a balance. Sometimes stuff be
Imbalanced.
80-20, whatever, right?
Got to get it done.
It's just got to happen. I don't know. Ain't no equal distribution.
No.
But there's got to be space for you to be able to take care of yourself and make sure that your own well-being, is attended to in your marriage and other things. What do you do to make sure that you're taking care of you?
Yeah. I still think I can use some improvement in that area. I do try to carve out time for myself. One thing that I've always been a stickler about is my son being in school. So, even when it's not legally required for him to be because it was just preschool. So he's been in school since he was 2 years old.
Okay.
Actually a little before 2. And so that time when he's in school is my time, right? So whether I'm working or I'm usually working, but but I'm able to do
entrepreneurs everywhere.
Right, I'm able to do stuff like this, or whether I go to the spa or just whatever I need to do, I can do it, right? Like, so him being in his respective place is important too. But then also my support system is really helpful for me to be able to take care of me, right? So my sister and I work extremely well together. We share, we split the time, so sometimes if I need to do something or need a break, she'll pick him up or she'll go see mom that day and then I'll go see mom the next day. So we alternate schedules. And I'm really trying to do better in this season of my life in taking better care of my body.
Yes.
So like even this morning, like knowing I had to come here, I still try to get a quick walk in. So I didn't do my full walk. I did a shorter version. I didn't go to the park. I walked in the neighborhood. So trying to eliminate excuses for taking care of my physical health, my mental health and things like that. And worship is a big piece for me too. So another non-negotiable is my commitment to God, my worship, my church involvement and activities. Those are all things that feed and fuel me, right?
Okay.
Not my son. I mean, he's involved too, but you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like those are things that I want to do for me. So yeah.
Yeah, taking care of yourself, mind, body, and spirit. I love that. What's your favorite worship song right now?
Ooh, Pastor Mike. Oh, he has so many. It's definitely something by Pastor Mike. It's one of his newest ones. How does it go? Of course, I'm not gonna be able to think of it right now. It's not Big because Big that was from last album. I'm gonna tell you, but it's Pastor Mike. Anything by Pastor Mike, just go.
Everything you said that just brings me fully present. Like God, I am before you, Pastor Mike. Praise Him for being a conduit today.
Yeah.
No, I love that. I love that. And I think worship is underrated as a form of care, right? Because I think it is a reciprocal process.
Yeah.
It is, I am celebrating and focusing on and elevating God. I'm focusing that my mind and my heart towards gratitude and appreciation and just recognizing who you are. And in that, my heart softens. My stresses, they are present, but they feel lighter because the Lord, I recognize you're helping to carry that load, right? And so that's so beautiful. I love that as a care strategy. So y'all check that out. If you need to be in worship, okay? And that can be in a church, it can be in a house of worship, but it can also be at home. Taking some time to just worship and fellowship with the Lord can absolutely bring ease to your body and your spirit. It actually, you know what? Sometimes when I feel like irritable or tired or frustrated, but I still have a long day, putting on the right song, putting on something that has like really beautiful lyrics that really speak what I may not be able to articulate with my words in a form of worship is definitely something that like really helps me refocus and recharge. So yeah, I appreciate you sharing that. Okay, friend. So I really do want to kind of highlight a little bit about the business side of what you do, because I think what's so important for this audience is recognizing that our success in our careers or our family life can't be what we are trading care on, right? That it's not like I will trade care and well-being for myself in order to be the successful businesswoman and entrepreneur or a successful professional, in my career. Is that I want to find ways and celebrate women who are aiming to bring these two parts of their life together. Because I think kind of a old boys club idea, right? Is that the people who are at the top, if you think about a traditional, successful career-oriented mogul, they're typically men. And what their kids will tell you is that, well, he wasn't home, but he sure did love me. And how did I know that? Because maybe he bought things. Or the child will say, I don't know if that person loved me. I know they provided for me, but that did not translate into love because the time wasn't there. Or, there's some kind of sacrifice that that person was making in order to hit those particular goals. And I'm kind of like, that's not going to work for me. Yeah. Right? I don't think it worked for them either. Let's be clear. I don't think that works for men back then or today, but it certainly is not going to work for me because as a God-centered woman, as a mother who loves my baby, as a wife, and just as a person, as a woman, I am more interested in more sustainable aspects of success. Right? And how do we get there? And being able to say care is a tool on how we get to sustainable success. Not that flash pan, kind of it fell out of the sky and everything was so wonderful all at once. And, everybody's so excited. And then 3 months later, it's all gone. And, in the entrepreneurial world, you can see that. Okay, that is not that's not a phenomenon. That's something that happens. And so I really do want to celebrate and learn from successful women who are bridging those gaps. And I feel like you're one of those people. And so, sis, take care of business, okay? Because the business is not just the transactions and the sale. The business is what you do with community. The business is, what you're doing to make sure that, okay, if the business is in place, then this is what I get to do with my family. And this is how I get to enjoy life, So I feel like there's some reciprocity there. But what is your perspective on being a woman of faith in business? There's a lot of unethical ways to make money. And there are a lot of ways to be in business that may not align with faith. How do you bring these two together to say, yes, I'm in business, but I'm also guided by my values, my integrity, and I use that to operate in what I do with business?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's at the core of who you are, right? Like, I'm not going to do anything shady at work, in a community organization or in my business, right? Like, I just think that, how you do anything is how you do everything, right?
Yes.
So, I definitely, that's never been a concern of mine. Like, and of course, you kind of hear about different, schemes and scams. I mean, it's Atlanta, right? Like it's scam capital, or as they say.
Oh Lord, do they say that?
Well, to a degree, maybe to a degree. But anyway, I just, it's never been anything that I've ever been concerned about. Me and my sister have a joke. If there's even a hint that I could go to jail, it's not possible, right? Like prison is not for me.
I don't want to go to jail.
So
it's not going down over here. Okay.
Yeah, so that piece is a no-brainer, right? The faith, is again at the core of who I am. So everything I do has a faith aspect and component because there's no separation. There's no separation of who Aisha is as a person and who Aisha is as a believer, right? Like it is infused in everything that I do. And my business is a calling just like my ministry is, right? And ministry simply means to serve, right? So in church, I'm serving God's people in that space. In business, I'm serving God's people in that space, right? So whatever I do, I see the ministry in it. And so for me, this is just the fulfillment of another calling.
I love looking at that as a part of your calling. And I think that actually makes sense, because like you mentioned, you've had different businesses before. And so you can be present because if you're whole in who you are and who God created you to be and called you, then you show up in whatever you do, with that same identity, if your identity is rooted in your faith. So that makes a lot of sense. I hope that encourages other folks of faith to feel like there doesn't have to be a tug of war,
right?
Between what their goals are and professionally, and then, who they are in God. Like there's a place for alignment.
Yeah. And the reality is, especially for entrepreneurship, if you choose to be an entrepreneur and it's not something you're called to do, you got to be crazy.
Ooh.
right? Because
Get out here in these streets and find out she right.
this is nothing that you would just voluntarily sign up for, and you are not sincerely called to it or passionate about it.
Yeah.
Right? Like, who would sign up for this? Like this life. Like, this is hard. I'm telling y'all, it's hard to be an entrepreneur.
She not lying.
Right? So, forget what you see on Instagram, forget what you heard online or whatever, what somebody told you. It is hard. And so you don't willingly do something hard unless it is something that you are called to do, that you're passionate about, that you believe you've been assigned to, or that is part of your purpose. Like, this is, of course, unfortunately, sometimes we have to take on jobs or, careers that maybe are not fulfilling, that we're not passionate about, right? That we kind of find
we
ourselves
got to get another investor.
Right?
Okay, we got to get that employer
right?
investor.
And that's fine. That's absolutely fine, right? Because, you got to do what you got to do. But to voluntarily sign your name on a dotted line as an owner of a business, and it ain't something you are sincerely called to do and passionate about, I don't know what you're doing.
Tell them.
Tell me, because I don't know, because I would not.
She's like, let me know, because I'm confusion right now. That is so real, though.
Yeah.
People don't realize how tough it is. And it's not just because, life is tough. It's like, no, the ebbs and flows of business is tough. It doesn't even mean there aren't good days. There's a lot of good days. And then there's also the other types of days that come right alongside with that. Or have you ever had one of these? Okay, like half the day was trash. And you were like, I just want to throw the whole day away.
Girl.
This has been it's a Monday. This has been a long week. Okay?
Right.
And then the other half of the day, something amazing that maybe you've been working on for 6 weeks, 6 months, 6 years comes to pass. And it's like, and this is why I'm here and I love this so much and I'm never going back.
Right.
They just come always together. But I want to ask you something. I want you to think about one of the worst days in business, whatever that is for you. What did you tell yourself to get back up and get back going?
I don't know if I told myself anything. I think God probably told me.
Come on.
That I didn't bring you this far to bring you this far.
Amen.
Because there's been some really tough days where I did not get back up, or I was just like, okay, just forget it all. Like, nah, this ain't it. And so it has been God every time that has let me sulk, let me have my pity party moment. He understands, right? Like, we don't have to sugarcoat or pretend like we are not, human and we don't feel have emotion. He can handle it.
He can handle
it. But then when you're done,
let's wrap it up.
Yeah, it's time to go. So, and even the grace that he gives in that, right? Like, that we're not robots, that we don't necessarily turn back on and off just like that. Like, it might be a gradual process. There might be some off and on and off and on and off and on before you're fully on again, right? Like, so, it's been nobody but God that has kept me, that has sustained me, that has uplifted me and brought me back, to a place of, okay, what do we do now? What does this look like now? For sure.
Oh gosh, as you were talking and you were saying he kept me, and it just you were talking about worship music earlier. Kurt Carr, he kept me, so I wouldn't let go. Oh my gosh, that song just immediately just came to me as you were speaking, and it's because some of the moments are desperate moments. They hurt, and I want to ask this to really be an encouragement to me, and also to those who might find themselves in a place where they have to pivot. How do you keep your faith in the pivot? Because we mentioned I was at the opening of the sister shop. I shopped there plenty, supporting all the amazing businesses that are a part of the Sisters in Business community. Bought my candles, honey. Got some jewelry, books, all kinds of amazing things that you did there. And now you're in a new season. How do you keep the faith in a pivot?
Your memory, right, is what reminds you that the same God that kept you, in that last season, the same God that made that happen is the same God that can make something new happen, something greater happen, something different
Yes.
happen.
Come on, Holy
And
Spirit.
so,
Remind us. Bring back to our remembrance.
Yeah. Like, don't get spiritual amnesia. Like,
Ooh.
God is still able. He's
Did y'all catch that? Spiritual amnesia. Write that down. Okay, inbox her, ask her to explain that all.
So he's still God.
That's deep.
He's still God. And so that is what has kept me in the pivot, even in the uncertainty, right? Because when you're pivoting, there's different types of pivots, right?
Okay.
I'm gonna do a whole pivot.
Listen, break it down. Right? School us today.
So there's a planned pivot, right?
Okay.
Where okay, on this date,
yes,
this is what is ending, and on this very next date, on whatever set date, this is what is beginning.
The rollout.
And so I got a whole launch,
yes.
and so those are nice. So, those are nice.
Those are sweet. They're so precious,
right? Oh, precious planned pivot, right? But then sometimes there are unplanned pivots, right? Where life completely throws you a curveball.
Yeah.
Maybe God forbid you get, diagnosed with some type of terminal disease, or God forbid you lose a loved one, or whatever. It could be anything. God forbid you're in a terrible accident. Like, things happen.
Yeah.
And sometimes there's an unplanned pivot, like an unexpected reason where you have to completely shift gears and go in another direction, right? So with those two different types of pivots, you still have to be able to see God's hand in all of it, right? So whether I know exactly where I'm going,
yes,
or I don't, because the reality is, even if you know where you're going, you don't know what the outcome is going to be, right? And and when you don't know where you're going, you don't know what the outcome is going to be. So all of it is a walk of faith,
yes,
and all of it is trusting God in the process, whether planned or unplanned.
No, that's so good, because it's a good reminder that even if you can't see the full staircase in front of you, if you have the clarity of mind of just the next step, then taking that and trusting that next step generates action, momentum, the type of implementation that brings clarity for the steps that's beyond that. And that requires a deeper level of trust.
Yes.
Do you feel like your relationship with God has grown, your faith, because of challenges with businesses, or just the ups and downs?
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Like, it's biblical, right? Like, the testing of our faith comes, for these reasons, to make us stronger, to test us, to grow us, right? To, to get us closer to God and to a better understanding of who He is in our lives, right? And to, come to a different sense of reliance, right? Like, so we knew God in this season and we needed Him for this, but is this God able to do this thing? Because I've never needed Him for this, right? Like, like when I lost my dad, right? Like, I had counseled people through grief and loss. I had, read about it, seen about it, but now I need it, right?
Yes.
So how do I come to know God as a comforter, when before I knew Him as a provider and a healer, but I never knew Him as a comforter, right? So, the many facets of God, are how we get to know Him. It's just like with your spouse, right? Like, or with, different family members in different seasons. You maybe didn't have to know them in that capacity, but now you do, right? So I'm just grateful that that He has not failed me. And that I am able to still, live, move, and have my being, and be able to tell of His goodness. That even in every season of business, He has kept me. He's been a provider on the good and the bad days. And I don't know if I answered your question.
Girl, you did, girl. Listen. You hear and you responding in the way that God is leading you. That answers every question. It totally does. Who is God to you right now in this specific season?
In this season, God is a keeper.
And a way maker. Jesus.
Yep, that too. Oh, definitely.
Listen.
And a provider.
Way maker.
Miracle
worker. Promise keeper. Light in the darkness.
All those.
My God.
Yes.
That is who you are.
Yes, that is who He is for me right now.
Yes.
Because, and it's funny, like, when everything is great and, you have what you need and, and what you want. And, that doesn't mean you don't appreciate God. Or that didn't mean, let me speak for myself. I still appreciated God, still knew I loved God, still had a relationship with God. But everything was good, right?
Yeah.
Then when things are not good, right, can you still trust him? Can you still worship him? Can you still serve him? And so that has been my commitment personally to let God know that I still trust you. I'm still going to serve you. I have to practice what I preach. I'm not going to tell people that they should still worship and still come to church or when things are hard and then I'm staying home. Right. Right. So, and I believe he honors our faithfulness, right? He honors our commitment. And so, I'm just waiting to see what's next.
I love that. Okay. Tell people how they can find you. You did a pop-up shop here in Atlanta. Are we going on tour? What are we doing? Tell people where they can connect with Sisters in Business.
Yeah. So thesistahshop.com, and sister is spelled SISTAH.
y'all. Okay.
In all of these. So thesistahshop.com is our website on social media. Thesister.shop on Instagram or sisters.in.business. So if you just put Sisters in Business, it'll all come up. If you put the Sister Shop, it'll come up. And TikTok as well. My personal brand page is SIB Founder. And we are, we'll be announcing some things soon. We have learned to not put the cart before the horse.
Okay.
We've done 4 and 5 city tours for for 8 years. And we also know how expensive that is and how much of a huge undertaking it is. So now we're kind of announcing things as they come up.
I love that. That's prudent. That's wisdom right there.
Yes, girl. Yes. Because, we're not new to this. We're true to this. Okay. So, so just stay tuned. The best thing to do is to join our mailing list, which you can do on the website. That way you don't have to worry about the algorithm not algorithming. And not have to worry about missing out on important updates and announcements. So,
okay. And what we'll do for you all, we'll leave all of those links right in the description. So you can click on that, join the email list, follow them on TikTok, follow them on Instagram, and show up in your city when they come. Okay. Thank you so much, Sis Take Care audience. I appreciate you all for tuning in. Did you like this episode? I know you did. Click like, definitely follow for more, and we will keep you posted when Aisha updates us on anything else going on with Sisters in Business. Thank you so much for being here. This was such a blessing. Yes. And how can we pray for you in this next season?
Just praying for clarity and peace and prosperity.
Amen to that. Amen. Thank you, friend.
Thank you.
And